hands up in the... I don't know why I do this when I intro.
Every time.
Hello, everyone! It's big.
One day you'll be able to see us and you'll know the joke.
Hello, everyone! Welcome to Arcade Node. I'm Brad.
I'm Jacob.
Jacob's here.
I introduced myself this time because there's no one else here.
Andrea's sick. Josh is asleep.
Josh may show up when we're loud enough to wake him up.
It's 1:45 in the afternoon. Josh is asleep.
Yeah.
He works third shift. It's okay. And I don't know what this episode's about. I don't even have my notes open.
Me neither. So,
we were just getting nowhere, so I figured if I start recording, it'll force us to actually...
Yeah, well, I mean, we were talking, so it makes sense to just go ahead and start recording. So...
What are we talking about first?
This is our podcast. We are recording this on April 6th. Whatever day it comes out on, I don't know. But the reason that's important is because we do this once a month and record some podcasts, but so much shit happened in March.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what this is going to be about because our notes
are all over the place.
Notes doc that we have is just full of everything. I mean, like, what all did we even have coming out? We got the Borderlands 3 thing, of course. You know, Sekiro just dropped. Google Stadia got announced, and whatever the heck that's going to be. We got the whole thing where Halo's coming out on Steam. Or the Master Chief Collection.
We sort of talked about that, but we know more information now.
And then we got the whole train wreck that Anthem turned into. Which is very unfortunate, in my opinion, because that game is so fun to play for about 10 minutes. And then you're just like, wow, I've already done everything.
Let's just go ahead and talk about Anthem.
Okay, let me... Hey, I'm not a poopy head.
I saw you in the Google Doc. I was like, I'm going to add some stuff
Jacob,
to it.
That is also one of the topics for arcade mode. Jacob is a poopy head. Okay. So yeah, Anthem. I'm so disappointed.
Okay, so we talked about Anthem. We're like, sure, they're going to fix the bugs. And we realized that a lot of the things that were bugs were less bugs and more feature.
Yeah, it was more... Oh shit, this game's been in development, or in production, I'll say, not in development. It was in production for like 7 years. And
I would go back farther. I'd say it was in development for 7 years.
Yeah.
And it was in production for about 6 months. And that's kind of the problem.
And that's what, like, if you haven't read the article by Jason Schreier on Kotaku about Anthem, read it. It is...
Did we talk about the article?
And more so than just Anthem, it is very indicative of what the gaming industry as a whole is like.
I mean, it's more or less
because there's a little bit of a thing that like kind of this is what was going on with Fallout 76 as well.
Yeah, and the working conditions are very much just like Telltale. Yeah. Well, not exactly. Not quite as bad boss-wise, but yeah.
Because it was just like, you know, they tried to chalk it up to just a lack of leadership on BioWare's part. And, you know, like, I could even see that being the case for Fallout 76 well, because...
That's what gets me.
It was their new studio, you know?
Yeah, that was a weird choice. But Fallout 76... Okay, let's go through basically what the article said first. More or less, the thing about the article was, to sum it up, is BioWare wanted to make a new game. And they didn't decide what they wanted to make. They only decided what they didn't want to make. They said, we don't want it to be like Dragon Age. We don't want it to be like Mass Effect. And when anyone else asked, well, what do you want it to be like? They went, oh.
Oh.
And it's so unfortunate because, like, you read that article, and which BioWare / EA, we don't know which one. It says BioWare. I'll get into that in a second after we finish this. It's really like we wanted to blame EA for this so much, but it's just not EA's
like,
fault.
If you go back to our old one, that's what I said. This game looks so great, but EA.
In fact, the only major decision made by EA was the decision
to add flying.
Was the decision that caused me to actually buy the game.
And that's such a great mechanic. Like, could you imagine playing Anthem without flying? There would be nothing there.
But that's only 50% of the blame. Because then you go in deeper. Because it starts off with them not knowing what they want to make. And no one wanted to make a decision. They'd have these long meetings and no one would make a decision. That no one would be in charge. And they finally did get someone in charge. But the whole place was so bad, he ended up leaving, if I'm not mistaken. And so there's just no one in charge of the whole thing. And that's Mass Effect's fault. But then it becomes But at the same time, part of that, or a lot of it, was because EA is forcing them to use a game engine that is not meant to be made. That's not meant to have games like this made on it.
It didn't even have a third-person camera when they started implementing it into the Frostbite.
Because it was made for, like, what, Call of Duty?
Battlefield.
One of those.
It's EA's, thing.
Oh, right,
Activision does.
Oh, really? No wonder Call of Duty sucks. So, that's part of the problem. One of the reasons they were reluctant to make decisions was because any decision they made, that's weeks and weeks of reworking on something that otherwise would have taken them a couple of days.
Yeah. Like they described it as just having to fight against the tools that they had to even make the game in the first place. They were having to fight against the engine that it didn't have the basic features that they needed to even make a game like this,
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if EA wanted them to use that engine, they should, because in the end they did get technicians down there that knew how to use the engine to show them how to do it. They should have done that from the beginning. They should have said, hey, we need you to use this engine, and I do kind of get the reasons. It does help them. But if they're going to tweak the engine, they need to have the people that know how the engine works to tweak the engine. You can't just expect people to know how to do that.
And, Anthem was just... Because, that's the whole reason we're talking about this now, as Brad pointed out, how crazy our opinions on this game have changed.
Yeah.
Because we were so man, all these people talking about how this game has nothing, they're just whiners. They go through the game too fast, and then it's just wow, this game really is a disaster.
I still stand by
that. I'm not going to disagree with that statement that people force their way through games too quickly and then complain that they forced their way through the game too quickly. That was a whole big thing with Bungie doing that with Destiny. They wanted the end game to be longer, and so they put more grind in it. But then they were like, "Oh, we don't want all this grind. We want it." And it's nobody's ever going to be happy. And I still think that people, you should just enjoy the games you're playing. That's what I do. Granted, I'll get through a game. That's the issue with it. I'll say the more fun you make a game, the faster I'm going to blow through it and then be bored with it. Because I'll play the game every second that I have a chance to, And it's just... Anthem was so fun for that 2-week period that I played it, man. Once I was trying to get all the stuff, and then I was spending money. I was spending money. I'm not ashamed of that. I was like, man, look at that armor set. That's going to look cool on my Storm. I want to support this game. And it's honestly, I don't think that they can fix this.
No, I don't think they can.
Short of taking the game down from the store and relaunching it, they need years of... Because, honestly, at this point, Fallout 76 is a pretty good game. They're starting to, they're ironing out all the bugs. They're starting to add new content. We're getting the waves of DLC. And all the bones were there, It was just they were making poor decisions. But this game, they can't fix it.
That's the
thing.
The
loot system is fucked up. In Destiny, at least, when I get all the crap weapons, there's only 2 currencies that it breaks down into. But Anthem is you break down the green weapon, you get green embers, you get blue embers, you get purple embers, and it's I don't need any of this crap. It's just useless. There's no reason to have anything other than Masterworks once you get your first Masterwork, and it just bothers me.
There's a slight bit of hope, because Destiny 1 very much suffered from we don't know what kind of game this is, which is why Warframe blew up when Destiny 1 came out, because people were going into Destiny thinking it was going to be one game, and it wasn't. And so people played Warframe. The other people went into Destiny thinking it was going to be the other kind of game, and it wasn't, so they kind of left. Destiny 2 kind of fixed that, where it knows how to combine the storytelling and the online and all the things. It's got it all fixed now. And if Anthem was just a little bit better, people could hold on long enough to make an Anthem 2, but I just don't think they're going to be able to do it.
I mean, I feel like that's the only...
if they did make an Anthem 2, I would totally play it.
Yeah, I feel like that... starting right now, we need Anthem 2 started now.
Start making a sequel right now.
Get it through in 5 years, release it. Maybe we'll be okay. You can reboot the whole series, just write in a short little story mission on the first Anthem. Oh no, the Anthem of Creation's restarting the universe. They did that. They wrote it in so that they could do this.
Well, that's the thing.
You got my $60. Now use it.
One of the biggest problems is they didn't know what kind of game they were making, which apparently is a really big problem with BioWare in general.
Yeah.
And they just say, because they'll just say at the end, it'll be seems like a disaster, but by the end it'll be fixed. It's BioWare magic is the word they used a lot, and they just that's not a thing. You just keep getting lucky. Which is funny. This is what I was going to say now that I mentioned the BioWare magic, because that's what they said a lot. It's BioWare magic. It'll be fine. BioWare magic. BioWare posted a response. BioWare EA, I don't know which one. Yeah. Posted a response to that article. But BioWare. It said by BioWare. And I saw on Reddit someone's like, it's funny how the other ones say who they're posted by, but this one just says BioWare. And someone goes, it was posted by BioWare magic. It's like, Jesus.
BioWare magic.
And one of the favorite things, someone got the platinum armor. They did everything. You have to do like absolutely everything to get the platinum skin armor. And they posted it on Reddit. And my favorite comment goes, "Oh shit, you finished the game before they did." I was like, "Oh man, that was savage shit right there." Yeah. And it's so true. They didn't know what game they were making, so the game isn't done. And that's why I was like, I kind of want to now, because they know what they want. They know what they're doing. They know the story.
And it's like, that there were a lot of things they didn't implement, because the first thing that the game makes you do is create your character. You pick your face and everything that you want to use, and then
you never see it.
You literally never from that moment see it again. Never. Like, you hear your voice that you pick, which is just boy, girl, but you never see anyone's face, and you never see your face again, which seems to me that, and it's just like the launch bay. The launch bay is like a buggy thing. When do you ever go to the launch bay?
Well, the launch bay was added last minute because they wanted it to be open world, but the game engine can't handle it.
Yeah.
So I almost don't even believe BioWare for that. Like, you were supposed to be able to see other people. Because you wanted your home instance to be, your home instance. I get that.
So that's fine. They can change based on your choices.
I still think other people should be able to.
And then they realize that, holy shit, if we have the home instance and there's nowhere else, you're not going to have anywhere you can go to show off this armor that you're paying real money for. And they're like, quick, throw the launch bay together. And that's why it was just added, It's just like, here, you have somewhere to go, which always annoys me, because it's like, if you're in a team and you all choose to leave and go to the launch bay, you don't go there together.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
so weird.
Like, the second I hit launch bay, it just loads me out of the instance, and then you two are still at the menu, and it's just like,
our levels were down on this thing, and I panicked. And I remember that we weren't using this today.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
we're not using that. Yeah, we got a nice little.
Some idiot forgot the cords to the microphone, so we were using our snowball.
It wasn't me.
It was me.
I don't have responsibility.
I don't know where they are. That's what worries me. I packed them, and I'm like, oh, well, they're not expensive, so I can get more if I have to. But
yeah,
we have one.
Really?
Yeah, it's when your microphone came in, it's in there.
Oh, nice.
I need to unpack that and make sure it's actually, I don't know what is in the box. But anyways.
Anyway, we'll get to that.
The problem with Anthem is that, like, it's got enough pull that I want to go back and play it.
No,
and then
it's so fun
and
to
then
play.
I get on, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, which almost doesn't matter. I could just fly around and do stuff, and it's almost fine. Anthem could save itself, I think, by adding more. Fuck the story. It's fine. It's not the best story in the world. It's definitely not the worst story in the world.
Yeah. I feel like it would have definitely done better from some, actual BioWare magic.
Well, that's the problem. It had too much BioWare magic. They're actually really pissed off that it ended the way it did, because it's like, oh, random big bad guy, he's taking over the world, because that's what their new project guy wanted to get it done. And they're like, that's too much like Mass Effect or Dragon Age. It's like, that's true, but you should have made a decision on what you wanted earlier, man. Like 5 years ago.
In pre-production. I'm pretty sure that's what pre-production's for.
And that's the thing. I'm not hating on BioWare. I just think they got in over their head in a place that they couldn't get out of. Like, they got thrown into a pool when they couldn't swim. And instead of asking, they couldn't even ask for help. But instead of trying to learn to swim, they just kept floundering around, hoping that they'd just magically end up out of the water.
And see, and one of the things that's kind of unfortunate is, like, I bought Dragon Age Inquisition.
That's a big problem.
That was another game that was really bad, and that was the first game from BioWare I ever played, and I did not finish it because I hated it. I did not even get far into it, and that's definitely my fault. It might be great after that point that I got to, But then Anthem, I'm like, oh, well, I've heard that, because, Anthem, whether it is or not, it looks sci-fi-ish, it's like big mech suits or whatever, and it's like, oh man, this looks more their speed, because the only thing before then with BioWare was just Mass Effect, I'm hearing from everybody how great Mass Effect
I hated Mass
trilogy
Effect.
was or whatever, and it's just like, this was my first step into BioWare as a developer, and it was a terrible experience, and I have no intentions of giving them my money again. Like that, this is the kind of crap that I get.
See, I'm on the other end of that because there's just,
and I'm afraid that that it's going to happen like that. There's going to be so many people that this was their first step into BioWare.
Yeah, that could very well be a problem.
It's just like, oh, I don't know who BioWare is. Man, wow, this game looks so cool, and you get in it, and it's just terrible, and it's like,
my thing is that it's just, I can see the potential in that game. There's just so much. It's everywhere. It's just oozing out potential that they just can't do. And so I'm just like, I just want a game that has those things. And so I'm like, I have the hope that...
And it's just like, they just need to I feel like they would do better if they just got rid of the guns. Like, because that's one of the big complaints that people get is that all the guns are exactly the same.
I think they would do better if they stopped ignoring the guns.
Maybe, but at the same time, like,
playing as a ranger that actually does actual damage with the guns, the guns can be really interesting, and they become like playing as a ranger with as crazy mobile as they are, switching between the assault rifle and the shotgun as I'm just jumping around killing things, because it's such a different experience. I know the ranger's the weakest out of all of them, and that's actually one of the new updates where they completely changed how combos work.
Well,
because that needs to be fixed.
They did fix that. They fixed that the Ranger's combo actually works now. It actually does do bonus damage. But they made, because like the issue with the Ranger, and I know we're getting off the big BioWare topic that we were on, but we're on
it's
Anthem.
all about the game.
But
this is showing the potential.
One of the big problems with the Ranger class was that his melee attack is a primer, the only primer melee attack in the game. And
no, I didn't know that. That explains a lot.
All.
Does it say that anywhere, or do it?
Yeah, I mean, it has the little symbol that the game doesn't explain at all.
They need to work on that.
But it has all of the components for the Ranger had to do with, if I do this thing, I can then melee him for extra damage, which makes no fucking sense, because I should melee first and then combo, because it's a primer. And so it had this whole thing where it was just like a useless, and then they swapped it. And so now doing a melee attack increases, my missile or grenade damage by 100%. I mean, it's like ridiculous. And they they changed the way I think it's getting better, but they're making the abilities work better, which that was a whole other issue with scaling and everything like that, but I think they fixed that as well. Maybe. But it's honestly to the point where, like, I don't know if I can trust it.
Yeah.
It's like the whole shit where I have a level 1 weapon equipped and it's just trying to scale me up to the other shit, and it's just like...
Yeah, that is weird. Granted, it's not super different from any other game. We just know how it works.
Yeah.
Because in theory, you're like, oh, hey, I'm level 80. I can fight level 80 stuff now. But when you cut down the multipliers to your health versus their health, you're still almost at the same place as you were at level 1. The only difference is that where you're allowed to go.
Yeah.
And so it is a big
all
difference.
They do is just make the numbers bigger on both sides.
But the difference is because of the weird scaling, that your bonuses mean almost nothing in Anthem. Whereas any other game, like if I have plus 200, like in Path of Exile, if I get like plus 300% on like cold damage, I can see that 300%. But it also expects me to use that 300% because I've leveled up to get that 300%, so everything else fucking sucks. I want to play Path of Exile. Every time I talk about it, I was like, I want to play it, and I get back on, I was like, damn, I don't want to restart. But that's the thing. That's one of the things you were talking about the Ranger that I love about Anthem is that the different classes are so different. I don't know whether that was intentional or if they were just throwing shit together now. But playing as a Ranger is almost a completely different game. Because like when I
actually started playing as the Ranger because I played as the Storm.
Because same thing. I played as the Storm, and I always used to get pissed off. I was like, why is he not killing him? He needs to be killed. He's over there. And I just played as a Ranger. I'm like, oh shit, that's right. Not everyone can see the entire battlefield at the same time.
Yeah, because as the storm, you're just hovering above it. I'm just like up there, just raining fucking fireballs down from the sky, and it's just like, is anyone else even doing anything? Except for I see Andrea off in the distance just fucking exploding everything because she plays with that's what it makes me so sad. This game was so fun. This game is so great. But I feel like the scale that they have put it to, I need this game to have like, they need to figure out a way to implement it where you're fighting like hundreds of enemies, you know, like I need big horde battles and then fighting 200-foot tall monsters, and you know, just because that's how the game feels. Like, it feels like that. But you get these little things where there's like 12 guys, and it's just like everything's AOE. You know, you focus on all this AOE, and it's just like I'm using a freaking 10 megaton nuclear missile from my hand, and it's like, man, I got that one guy.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's where the guns could come in. If they really made the guns interesting to use. Yeah. Granted, some of the legendaries in the Masterworks do kind of get that, but they're so impossible to get.
Yeah.
They really should have done it different. Like in Borderlands, you start getting the really weird guns about halfway through.
I want to talk about that.
Because you get the really weird guns halfway through, and the legendary guns are the really weird guns that are super powerful.
Yeah.
So you can still get the fun stuff without having to grind 120 years to actually deal damage. But real quick, I just wanted to say, that's why I wish it was cross-platform, because I would love for you to play as the Storm and start calling out the targets that I need to get. I could just hop over there and start the team mechanics need to be more team mechanic-y.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Because like nobody, I don't know.
Especially if I go in I could go in with full-on only what's the opposite of the primers?
Detonators.
I could go in with full detonators, and you can just
like you could
prime the shit out of everything.
And honestly, that's how me and Andrea play. Is I'm the Storm. I use the big Winter Storm thing, and I can freeze all the enemies. And her melee attack is a big overpowered. It's just an AOE it's an AOE attack that detonates. So I can like freeze a group of 5 enemies, and she just flies over there and then smashes down, and it blows all of them up. And it actually does, just like, not only does she hit all of them, but all of their primed parts go off in a big AOE explosion as well, and she will literally kill like 30 enemies in one big smash. And it's great.
Did once play with a team of Storms, and it was the coolest thing ever, because me and this other guy were both using that freezy thing.
Yeah.
So we were actually able to freeze bosses because we got enough cold damage on it. And the dude next to us had the lightning thing that was the detonator.
Yeah.
And he had the thing where he gets double combos. So we'd freeze the boss, and he'd hit it. Everyone around them would freeze, and then everyone around him would freeze. Like, God damn, this is cool. I wish I could get more of this. Like,
it's like the good parts of that game are great,
but there's so few and far between.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, there's just not enough to do, you know? Like, they just didn't have enough time to implement anything.
They need a bigger open world with more players, more than 4 players per free play thing.
Yeah, I agree. Like, this game would open itself up to so much greatness.
They need at least 8 people per free play thing.
Yeah.
But their problem is, like, if 8 people on a world event, they'll all die, and they'll kill them too quick. I was like, that's why you don't scale just in numbers. Scale the monsters that spawn, or scale like what kind of monsters. Like, maybe if we're supposed to be fighting like one thing, we end up fighting more elites. Like, we need more scaling than just behind the scene number things.
Yeah, don't just give things 4 times as many health or 4 times as much health because there's 4 times as many players. As a
GM, that is not how you do things. Like, that does not work. You don't just scale their health and be like, oh, they're stronger now. That's not how it works.
No.
Like, you have the ability to... You literally built a game where it makes sense for monsters to spawn out of thin air. Use that to your advantage.
No.
God dang it.
Like, you've created the ultimate because video games plot point.
And the thing is, though, they're so close. They use their cool monsters way too sparingly. Like, every time I'm fighting the Dominion, and then one of those weird... I don't even know what they are that go into the balls and start healing, the game suddenly becomes fun again. Because I'm not just like AoE... AoE. It's like, oh fuck, I gotta figure out how to do enough single target damage to this thing to keep it from regenning.
Yeah.
Which is why I wish sometimes I'm like, damn, I wish I had some fire.
Yeah.
I need a tank.
Colossus?
Yeah, I need a Colossus. It's like I'm just freezing it in place and it's still regenerating health. I need help. Oh, it's like, I don't know if I said this. I don't know if I said this on the podcast or if I said it at work. But I love one of the things I like about this game is how the resistances and the weaknesses work. I need more of that, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, sometimes I'll go out, and I don't know, sometimes I'll go out and things kill me in one hit, sometimes I go out and I'm a god. And so sometimes I'll go out and I'm just blowing things up and I'm a god, and then I get this one Dominion Frost Soldier, and like, I'm freezing him, and he'll fall to the ground, and his shield will go down, but I can't, my abilities are on cooldown, and by the time they're done, his health is back and he's unfrozen. Then he freezes me, and we just in this back and forth where neither of us, I'm just like, guys, I need help. Yeah. But we're not doing damage to each other, and I'm just in this stalemate forever until I'm like, I gotta leave because I stacked everything in cold. I have no ability to do anything else now. Eventually, I just bring my shotgun as a secondary, and I'm just like,
yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I love the looter shooter genre, but I feel like I only love it because of Borderlands. Because it was the granddaddy. And here's the thing. I don't think Anthem has a chance.
This one, no. There's no way.
Like, if they come up with an Anthem 2 in a couple of years that fixes everything that was wrong with this one, maybe.
I feel like it's possible.
When Borderlands 3 comes out, I think that there's no chance this game is going to
Oh, absolutely not. This game
Because, like it or not, Borderlands invented the looter-shooter genre, and they do everything right. So, like, you know, I was complaining about... Because, like, Anthem, the second you get your first masterwork item or your first legendary, there is no point in ever keeping a purple again. Never. Like, the first masterwork I got wasn't even a gun. It was a gun, but it wasn't even a type of gun that I liked using. But I used it because it was so much better and made all my other stuff so much better because of the fucked up scaling, that from that moment on, no matter what the inscriptions were, the only things I would keep are like a harvest bonus, just because, you know, you can go around and harvest all your embers to re-roll your masterworks that way. But I, from that moment on, deleted everything. And it's to the point where it's just like, in the community as a whole, people were mad that one of the updates added the ability for your friends or your other teammates to pick up the loot for you, because nobody wants to even pick up the purples and blues anymore.
Yeah, it's...
Because all it does is just takes time, because when you break down the blues and the purples, you just get blue and purple embers, which you can only use to craft blue items.
They need an upgrade system, even if it's like 1,000,000 to 1. It would give you some... Most people are like, oh, I don't want those blues, but there'd still be some people be like, I'll still collect these blues because I can upgrade them to purples.
And then onward to another looter shooter, Destiny, which, you know, that's what it is. Whether you want to talk about it being an MMO RPG thing or not, it's a looter shooter.
Those genres aren't exclusive.
I know, and then so you get there, and
there are people.
Destiny, you're playing it. You know, the whole thing. You know, you start off, you're using your white common items, and then you get to green items, and then you get to blue items, and then you get to the purple items, and then, you know, most everything that people have are legendaries, because then the thing after that's exotics, and you can only have one exotic armor and one exotic weapon equipped. But, like...
I actually kind of like that.
Yeah, it's good.
It makes you really think about what you're taking.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. You know, of course, you know, it involves the whole meta game depending on what things are working.
Well,
but, like,
that's also
when
true.
You get... Because, like, once you get up to the max level, you don't find greens or whites anymore, which is, you know, what Anthem ended up doing with their stuff. But, like, when you break down a blue item, you get gunsmith materials and glimmer. Glimmer's, of course, the, you know, base currency. It's just money, I guess. And then gunsmith materials are a currency that you use for, like, infusing your stuff, like, to higher levels, and you can use them to buy stuff from the gunsmith. And then legendaries, when you get the purples, you break them down and they give you legendary shards, gunsmith materials, and glimmer, which is that's the three things that you have. That's all the currency in the whole game, besides, like, special things that you use for specific vendors. But besides that, the point I'm trying to make, though, is there is absolutely no reason why you would ever use anything less than a purple. Like, nobody's going to use a blue. You just... It was like a complaint. People were like, can we just have a setting in our settings to automatically dismantle these items? And it's just... And, like, everything that you pick up is a lower power level than you, because, you know, you get up to what they call the soft cap.
Yeah.
And it's like, after this, you can only get more powerful items by doing the powerful reward bounties that give you powerful items. And everything that you drop is like 10 levels below what your power is, and it literally makes you weaker to use the item. And that's what I because with this whole Borderlands 3 shit coming on, you know, I've been going back, and me and Andrew have been playing Borderlands 2, and Borderlands does it so right, because there are multiple times that I'm using a purple rarity weapon, you know, the rarity right before legendary, and I'll find a white item that's better than what I'm using, and I'm like, well, fuck, okay, let's just use this fucking common item.
That's because how Borderlands is the most unique. I want to say looter shooter, but it's the most
looter shooter.
It's the most unique looter I've ever seen, because the guns, there aren't specific guns. That gun it starts off with a certain manufacturer, with a certain, I don't even know what it picks to start off with.
I mean, it's just...
And then it has a list, each type of gun has a list of, like, stocks and bodies and barrels and everything. And the rarity of those items determines the rarity of the thing. But the level of the item determines the power.
Yeah.
So you can still have a high-level weapon with common things that is still way stronger than your rare things.
I guess that's the difference, is like...
It's got rarity and level.
You're always...
Its rarity is not tied to its level, and I think that's the big difference.
Because, like, you know, nowadays in Borderlands, you know, they have, like, the raid on the Digistruct Peak, which is, like, basically like a raid.
Yeah.
That you can do with, you know, up to 4 players, because that's just how Borderlands is. But, like, it has, like... You never stop leveling up, you know? Because, like, the whole time you're playing the game, I think the level cap's, like, 80. And... You know, you get, like, I think it was 50 at first, and like you can get up, you're lucky if you get up to 50 by the end of your second playthrough, and then you have Ultimate Vault Hunter mode where everything's just ridiculous, and it makes it where
you're playing solo.
And then when you get, but see, here's the thing: when you hit level cap, then you have to start going into OP, and it's like OP level 1. It makes everything higher than level 80. And you find weapons that are... Because, like, weapons stop going up at level 80, but you can still get more powerful stuff at OP level 1, OP level 2, OP level 3. And it's like... I think it goes up to 10. And, you know, you're doing all these crazy things just on... Literally, you're still leveling up. Like, you don't just... It's not like Destiny, where you go up and you hit the level cap, and then you're just, at this point, doing all the end game. Just... 'Cause.
Yeah.
You know? It's like... That's. I feel like that's the difference.
It's a hard thing to do, though.
I mean, yeah, it is, and I feel like that's where Borderlands shines, because it just, like, no matter what missions you're doing, you know, it's just fun, you know, like you got, especially like some of the new stuff in Borderlands 3, but it's just like the weapons are fun to use. They all act different, like. It's just mayhem, you know. You're running around throwing your sticky longbow grenade, and then you just, I'm gonna throw my weapon at you, and it's gonna blow up. You know, just like it doesn't, in my opinion, have the same end game problems that all these other games have brought upon themselves, because there is no end game. It's just the same game that escalates higher and higher until you get to the point where you're just like, all right, I'm done playing now.
See, that's one thing. Okay, and again, like I said, I despise...
And then you do it all over again with one of the other 6 characters.
Yeah. Just 6? I was like, I was going to say, I despise Guild Wars 2 as a whole, but they really fixed their endgame. I'll give them that. It's because the new expansion packs, they start at max level. And so instead of leveling up your level, you're leveling up how you can use that level. Like, the second expansion pack is all about your glider and the environment. So there's areas that are like super poisony, and you want to, if you level up your ranking in that, which still uses experience and requires you to actually play the game. You can't just grind. You can't just grind the same thing. You actually have to go to these places to get points to spend on the thing, which is actually good. It makes you explore the thing they've made. And so there's this whole areas that are poisoned that like you could try to do before you had that. So in a way, it's kind of blocked. But like, oh hey, you know, I leveled it up. The poison doesn't hurt me anymore. Leveled up even more. Hey, I can use this poison against people now. Or your glider's like, oh hey, I unlocked the basic glider, and you know, woo. And then I kept leveling it up, and now I can dodge while I'm the glider. Now I can glide basically infinitely, and so I'm not leveling up. Find other things. Power level isn't everything. Yeah, that's my thing. There's so many other things you can do. I agree
100%. Because that's like one of the things that...
And what I was going to say is that you said, Borderlands 2 is fun. That's the thing about Guild Wars 2. To unlock some of the last stuff, I have to grind this last in-game event over and over and over again. But I've done it hundreds of times now, and it has never not been boring. Because it is exactly at that point where it is just hard enough that even if I know what I'm doing, I've still got to be like top of my game. Like I've still got to be focused and playing. And so it's the beginning of that event splits up into 3 areas, which in themselves split up into 3 more areas that all come back to the same point. So you can do it over and over and over, and you get different stuff depending on which area you've grinded. And so you just kind of cycle through, just keep doing different stuff until eventually you get to the end and you're doing the same thing, but there's multiple things going on at the same time. This is truly a raid. They're like 80 people. Like, oh, this dude's protecting this thing. This guy's... Because that's the thing about the glider. It's so much fun. There's like these wind pockets. You're fighting on these little floaty bits of just rock. And if you don't protect the places, the dragon will actually break the rock and you can't stand there anymore. And so you've got these bombs and you have to actually glide over the dragon and drop the bombs on it. And there's just so much stuff to do. Like, if you make these events fun, people don't mind grinding. Grinding isn't bad when it's fun to do. Yeah. And when they have
that's the thing.
And then they have different ways to grind. Yeah, and that's the thing.
Adding grind to the end game does not make it worthwhile. Like, yes. Just because it takes longer grinding to do is not what we want.
Yeah, grinding for the sake of grinding is just grinding. Grinding while having fun for a purpose is playing the game. Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. And I was going to go back. I don't know if I've explained this in the podcast. To anyone that hasn't played Path of Exile, the reason Path of Exile's loot works is that there is no money. There is no crafting material. But there's also everything is money and everything is a crafting material. Like, the first items you start off with, everything's unidentified if it's of higher than white. Yeah. And so you have scrolls of identification and you identify those items. Then you have items that can re-roll what the bonuses on the magical items are. There's items that are higher tier than that add more magical items. There are really rare items that can turn a white into a rare. And there's actually an upgrade system. And so when there's an upgrade system for these currencies, and you buy stuff from vendors with these upgrade items. So the money is also the crafting item, which is also the bartering stuff. It's like, yes, what you trade with people too. So it's just so much more in depth. Like, you don't have, I've got like in Anthems, like I've got 8 million purple embers I'm never going to use. And Path of Exile is like, I could buy this for 10 orbs of alchemy, but what if I need those to upgrade my items? Like, what do I do? And like, you're never just like, oh, there's yet no point. The only time something becomes useless is because you've just gotten a billion of them. And even then it's like, well, if I got a billion of them, I could use them to upgrade to the new stuff, and I can start collecting those again. And it's just, find use for your useless items and they won't be useless. And that made me think, imagine how Anthem would be different if you had like a purple, but there's like a 10% chance and some way to raise that chance if you do certain events or some grinding thing, that the ember you would get would be 1 tier higher. Suddenly the whole game's like, oh, I gotta start doing these.
I gotta start getting rid of these purples because I might get a masterwork. You know?
See, and that would just change. Yeah, just that little bit. Little bit. And granted, most people would still complain and not do it.
Yeah, I know.
But still, it's still probably half of the people would be like, oh, that's great.
Oh, cool. Or, now I have a purpose.
Or imagine if they had like strongholds, and one of the rewards at the end of the stronghold is like some guy you can talk to that allows you a certain number of times per day to upgrade embers. Yeah. Just little things. Find ways to make your useless items useful. Maybe not like the white ember, well, not white, whatever. Maybe not the first things, because there's always going to be that first thing that no one needs.
They never get that. You know, they got rid of the white and greens when you hit level 30.
Anyway, that's just the product of leveling up, because I get that. But still, the higher stuff that the items that you're constantly going to keep getting, even when you're a high level, find a way to make that useful. Hell, Borderlands pre-sequel added the grinder thing. I never use it. I hate it. I'm not going to keep up with that, but if you know how to work that shit, you can make some recipes. Good shit.
I know, I've done it. I've gotten, like, especially when you start doing the moonstone in there, and you make moon weapons or whatever.
When you find ways to make your junk useful, there's junk's not there anymore. It's not junk anymore.
See, and that's one of the, like,
I don't understand why that's so difficult for...
Yeah, I know. And
I've been out of drink for half of this damn podcast.
You keep grabbing it to drink it. I keep looking at mine and it's empty. But you get to the point where, like,
I've got some garbage water. It's Publix brand caffeine-free Diet Coke.
Oh God.
Anyway,
give me some of that juice.
It's just garbage juice.
I'm just like, I don't understand. I mean, I'm not I'm not a game developer, so I don't know how hard it is to make things. I'm not gonna say well, just do this. It's that easy.
My thing
is like with when you're playing Borderlands, it's not because let me go back.
Well, my thing is,
you say what you're gonna say.
I was gonna say,
I'm gonna go on a tangent.
When you make games like this, you know that you're gonna have this junk. Plan ahead. Know what you're going to do with it before you do it.
Because you implemented this junk.
Yeah, the junk is always going to be there. That's the nature of a looter. The junk will always be there. Find a reason to have the junk. If only for like in Path of Exile, I'll go back and sell my junk. I will collect every single white to sell it. It gives me almost nothing.
But eventually,
well, the thing is, that's the thing about the Path of Exile system. It gives me a bunch of scrolls of identification, and that allows me to identify my better stuff without having to break down my good stuff to get the scrolls. So, like, it all circles around. They found a way to make the junk useful, so I use it. Or Borderlands, I don't use it because it's complicated and hard, and I'm lazy. But
even then, you could conceivably find, if you haven't found.
It's just I don't play pre-sequel enough to justify having enough stuff to throw in there.
But like, you could conceivably find a white item that at the very least has a higher base damage than the purple that you're using. If you've just gotten unlucky and haven't found something to replace one of your items, if it's low level, you could conceivably find.
There's another game I played, and I can't think of what it is. It's like that, and you want to collect as many things. It might still be Path of Exile, because Path of Exile, they have a billion different ways to level up your stuff. Like there's this one thing you can throw in, it's like the grinder. You can throw in random things and you get something else. And so what you theoretically want to do, if you want boots, I always think it's Guild Wars. Guild Wars has the same thing where you throw in random stuff and you get something back. And so if you want Guild Wars 2, if you want boots, you throw in 4 boots, you're gonna get boots back.
Yeah.
You throw in 3 rare boots, you're gonna get a rare boot. But if you throw in random junk, who the f knows what you're gonna get?
You're just gonna get something.
And just
random.
like, again, I don't use that because I don't use that kind of thing. But I appreciate it being there. People use that all the time. Like, it's great. Just if you're a looter game, you know you're gonna have junk. So plan ahead. Like Guild Wars 2, that was always there. I think, was the grinding thing always in pre-sequel?
Yeah.
See,
the grinder.
Granted, there was like, again, both of these are games that have had a game beforehand and had this problem.
I mean, they've had but I mean, even the first Borderlands.
Well, again, Borderlands rarity is not
because at the very least you don't get rid of the things, you just sell them.
Yeah,
but you have money to use to. Because, you can go to those weapon vendors and find something incredible in there, a legendary. What the hell? I have enough money for this.
No, that's another thing about Borderlands is even the money is never useless because, well, maybe at a certain level it will be, but like those vending machines always have something fantastic in them. Maybe not fantastic for you, but it's still something good. And it just occurred to me when we're talking about this. I'm never going to let you make your point at this point. I hope you still remember what it was.
I do.
The level, the rarity not being tied to level is actually interesting. I hadn't really thought about it, but that does mean like rarity is how good it is for that level. So even if you're using a level 20 gun and you find a level 30 white, you're still like, well, time to switch. Unless it's one of the really
weird, never useless.
Unless you got that one gun that's like a really weird gun that does something really specific.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'm gonna keep this because
because the legendaries in that game are always just so great. They're so weird. They just do weird stuff like the Bane.
I will never forget. I had that unicorn shotgun, and I love that so much because it's just random. If you play, it shoots random elemental stuff, and so if you're playing with like elemental procs, it's just like have fun being on fire, on acid, and shocked at the same time. On acid. Oh, well, I mean, dude. Well,
corroded?
I guess corroded. I don't know. It's on Borderlands. I could totally see you like confusing enemy by shooting
them up with
shooting them up, quote unquote. Anyways, what was your point?
Okay, so it's on end game as a whole, or what you could consider end game. So like when I played Destiny, I'm doing all these activities and everything. With and I'm like, I go through there's a checklist every week, every Tuesday it resets, and I've got these things that give me powerful gear. I do all these things to get the powerful gear, which sometimes it sucks because you might get a pair of gauntlets 4 times out of all the powerful gear, and it doesn't help you because you're just like going up like 1 power level because it's like, oh shit, I already have a 650 item in this slot, but I only have a 600 in this slot.
That's always the nature.
That's just the nature of RNG.
That's the nature of looters.
But like, what gets me is, why am I doing this? I go through, I do all these things. They have high level activities, and doing these activities so that I can do the high level activities. But once I've done the high level activities, then what? I'm doing these high level activities so that I can get, I'm just basically grinding for, I might want this specific gun that has these specific roles. I'm trying to find the God roll, Better Devils or something. So I'm just grinding Crucible. It's like I'm doing these things so that I can just have things that I want. And it's like once I have, like, what do you do? And like that's the thing is like there's conceivably you could get lucky and you could end up at max level with all of your fucking God roll items that you want, everything you want. I've got all these rolls on every piece of my armor. You could conceivably do that if you got lucky. And then it's like, well, then what? Now what do I do? I'm max level. I have all the items that I want in every slot. Why am I still playing the game? Yeah, that is an issue. That's what you're going for. But like with Borderlands, the things that, or at least for me when I'm playing it, it's like you're leveling up. You have 3 separate skill trees that play completely differently. And so it's like at any moment I can respec and go into something else. And the skills are like, they change the way you play every time you get one. Absolutely. It's like you put 1 point into something, especially and it's like Claptrap. Yeah, especially and like right now I'm playing Zero, and it's like on this one tree, on the one tree he's like a melee, but it's like he's not just strictly a melee build because he does the most damage on an enemy that's almost dead. So he's like really good at like going around and like basically cleaning up all the little guys. But when you make it to the midway in the tree, he gets the ability to, when he's looking at an enemy in his action skill, which he just turns invisible, throws out his hologram, he can lunge. He gets the ability to lunge. But it doesn't matter what direction you're pointing, he lunges. So you're sitting there and you're like, man, you see that buzzard up in the sky? Lunge, 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 lunge. And you just fucking cut down a buzzard out of the sky with, a buzzard in Borderlands, if you don't know, it's basically a helicopter thing. But you just kill it with a sword from the ground. He's just like, I'm going to get him. And then you get down to the very bottom of the tree. And the ability is when you kill an enemy with a melee attack, you add time to your deception, re-stealth, throw out another hologram. So you can literally, at that point, lunge, melee, kill, lunge, melee, kill, lunge, melee, kill, lunge, melee, kill. You can literally, if there's enough enemies around, you can keep it going forever. I bet that's hard. I bet you can't. I'm imagining that build on a boss. I'm like, Well, yeah, but if he has enough minions. But I mean, he does like a ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing though, is when you get the boss down to a low enough level, he still does 600% melee damage against an enemy that's almost dead. So you can just like when you get the boss down to like a third of his health, it's like, okay, well you're fucked. You're basically just dead now. That makes me think of like Borderlands 1. I maxed out my regen on Lilith's ability, her phase walk. Simply so I could just walk places faster because I'm lazy. Faster. So like we gotta go to this next mission. I just explode, and Josh is like, "Wait, don't go!" Like, and that's and like it only takes like once you get you can unlock your highest level ability on each skill tree. That's the thing is like at level 31. Which in the base game the level cap was 50. I never tried that. So you can get all the way down in one skill tree to the very bottom, really peak skill, and then you can go part way down in the other one. But now the level cap's 80, so you can go all the way down in one skill tree, you can go all the way down in another skill tree, and then you can go part way down in the other one, and you can mix and match and pick whichever ones you want. There's so many combinations and builds, and you can just you might be walking and there's class mods in the game that give you bonuses to specific skills, and you might just like find a freaking purple class mod that just has random ass skills on it. You're like, well, fuck, I want to try that. I want to try out that build. The game gave me. I know that's what you think. It's like, wow, I know why has it got one thing on this skill tree and one thing in this skill tree, and they're like both halfway down. I know then you end up doing that, and it's like I can hack in the items. I know how it works. Yeah, like there are specific ones. They add specific things, which is weird to me because like, what if? How do they know what builds people are going to use beforehand? But they're really good about knowing that. They must play test the crap out of these. I mean, they probably do, But, and it's like that's the thing is like you gotta make sure not to hit the table. I'm not used to the one that's on the table. It's like you get to the point where like I'm playing the game just to see what kind of and like to a certain extent, Destiny is the same way. You're playing and, you might find a weapon that you didn't realize was a god roll for you, and that does give you the option to do it. But it's like Borderlands is just so much more blatant about it. I can just try something new, and it literally, it's more than just, wow, my gun reloads faster now when it gets a headshot. It's not shit like that. It's like, when I stand behind an enemy or I see an enemy that's attacking someone else, I do 64% more damage. Or like
that makes me think this. I
can lunge through the air. Or every time I get a headshot, it adds 6% to my critical hit damage, and it stacks up to 999 times. Meaning, if I kept getting headshots, I could be doing 6,000% more critical hit damage.
Borderlands is so upfront about what it does and how it works. It tells you what the stack limit is. It tells you when you'll use it. Tells you everything until you get red text weapons, and it specifically doesn't tell you, but that's intentional.
Yeah, and
you can figure out the fun way, or you can cheat like me and just look them up.
Yeah, which I think everybody does. Because every time you get something you don't understand, you're like, Google, help me!
And that's one thing I love about Borderlands, is that you have a bunch of red text weapons, and I'd say about 50% of them are completely useless, and they're simply there because they could and because they're fun. They're like, this weapon is so much fun to use, and we get to a boss like, oh, put that up. Then that's not gonna help.
Like the Bane, it just screams wildly the whole time you're holding down the trigger. It makes the most god awful noise, and they programmed it so that unless you have like your actual TV turned down, even if you have the game muted, it still makes the noise.
Really?
Even if you mute the game, it still makes the noise. Like, if your speakers are still turned up and you just have audio for Borderlands cut off, doesn't matter. Still goes the whole time you're shooting. And it also slows you down to like a crawl where you just can barely even move.
My favorite weapon in that game is the one where you do all the missions. I think it's Borderlands 2. You do all the missions for this AI that doesn't want to be evil. It ends up just being evil. He tries to kill you every time. Every time he's like,
Thank
sorry.
you for helping me. Now die.
It's like, I can't help it. And so eventually he's like, you put him in a gun, then he's perfect. But I never put him in the gun. I always put him in the shield. Because in the gun, he's just like reloading. Or you'll shut us like, maybe you should reload. It's like ammo low. He's a very helpful robot. It's what he's for. You put him in the shield and he resents you so much. Like, your shield goes down. Shield is empty. Perhaps you should try not sucking. He's like, you are dying. Good.
I have never once put him in the shield.
It's so funny. He hates you so much.
I'm gonna have to try.
It's like shield is low. I hope you die.
I hope you die.
It's great. It's great. He's so mad at you, and it's like, if I could put him in my other shields, I would. I want to move his AI over to other shields.
I just want to keep him with me. That's it. Like, the looter shooter genre, I feel like when Borderlands 3 drops, they're gonna have some issues.
It's a much more the looter shooter, any looters in general.
Yeah, we'll say looter, not looter shooter.
Well, they are looter shooters, but these problems are inherent to any game that has different levels of loot. Even a game that's not necessarily a looter, like any traditional MMO is at its core a looter, because you're still rare whites, blues, purples.
It's always the same. White,
but it's not always the same.
Blue, purple,
but it's not always
orange.
The same order.
Remember, kids. When Grandma burps, Patrick obeys.
It's not always the same order, and that has fucked me over a few times. I'm not gonna lie. Like, oh, this is a better weapon. It's like, no, it wasn't. Sorry, wrong. But and that's another thing about just random. I just thought about in Guild Wars 2. I don't know whether I love it or I hate it, but anything above I think uncommon. White, whatever the second one is, whatever the third one is. Anything that or above, when you equip it, you can no longer trade it. Yeah, which some people hate, some people
locked to you.
Yeah, some people hate, some people love. Well, normally, sometimes it's locked just to you, and I think they changed it where it's locked to your account, so you can still switch it over, which is nice.
Characters.
I think
there's a lot of games that do that. I can't. And I don't want to.
Some people hate
stupid,
that.
I can't name which ones they are, but I know that there's other games that do that.
Some people hate that, but I was like, I think that's actually really good for the game economy, because you don't just end up having a bunch of really good weapons floating around.
Yeah, that
no one plays the game anymore because exactly. It's an issue.
It's the same issue that like Fallout was going through, or Fallout 76 was going through with the duping. Everybody had a 2-shot explosive weapon, and they ended up having to nerf it to the ground because nothing was a challenge anymore when everyone had the most powerful weapon.
We're at about an hour.
This was our podcast on the issue with Anthem and looter shooters in general, and why Borderlands 3 is going to be the king.
Well, see, the thing is that
of the looter shooter.
In
September 13th.
Any game that's a looter, it's so much more complicated than people think. It's not just different tier weapons with different bonuses. There you go, looter shooter. You've got people don't play looter. People only play looter shooters for the joy of getting better loot to a point. They have to have something to do with that equipment once they have it.
Just having a shiny new weapon isn't enough. I need something interesting I can shoot with it.
Well, that's the thing about. I keep going back to this game. It's just a game I have a ton of hours in. Path of Exile.
Yeah.
Path of Exile is a much slower burn for looters. A much slower burn. But that's because half of the game is the skill tree. I think you've seen that.
Yeah, the sphere grid.
It's so daunting at first, but once you start messing with it, and it's so easy to level up in that game to a point, that there is no respecking. They're just like, make a new character. It's fine.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that. That's another thing is like, and again with Borderlands, all the characters play so differently than one another.
And in Path of Exile,
they all have different things that they do.
Path of Exile, you can mess up your character so it's completely unusable. They're like, all right, man. I mean, if you want.
Yeah.
But another thing about Path of Exile that's I think better than Anthem. I know it's hard to compare the two, but Path of Exile, it scales traditionally. So when you get that boss, it's not going to try to make it easier. You better damn well be ready to fight that boss.
Yeah.
Or he's going to screw you up. But
I feel like that's something that we've lost is traditional difficulty scaling. Like, the further you get in the game, the harder it is. Because everyone focuses so heavily on multiplayer that they don't worry about... And again, that's another thing Borderlands does. When you're playing Borderlands, if I'm level 50 and you're level 1 and you drop in the game, it still makes the game harder because it scales the enemies based on how many people you are, not necessarily what level you are, because you can go back to the earlier levels and the enemies are still level 1. So if I take your level 1 ass into my level 50 area, you're not going to survive. And that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know
That's okay.
I don't know at what point we started scaling up. Like... scaling your abilities down when you join a low-level player so you can multiplayer, I'm all for that. It helps out the new people.
And Destiny does that.
But there's some games now that's like, oh, the level 1 person can join the level 50 and we'll scale him up. No!
Like, you've literally, at that point, you have gotten rid of everything I've spent the whole game doing.
Maybe.
Because at that point, I am functionally equal to a level 1
Maybe
player.
allowing that to happen after one of your characters in the account have already hit max level... I can see that. Letting them kind of sort of skip the beginning of the game. Because sometimes, after you've done it a certain amount of time, at the beginning of the game, you're like, dude, I can't keep doing this.
It's an interesting thing. Destiny, in the newest season of the Drifter, they actually added, I think we talked about this, they added power surge bounties that you finish these bounties, and by the time you're done with these 4 bounties, you have an item in every slot that's at 640 power, which is 10 below the maximum power of the previous expansion before it, so you're basically 10 points behind where everyone else was starting at in the new expansion, and I love that because you can start a new character and just be like, I want to skip everything because I've already done it. Yay. I just want to play the new stuff.
In Guild Wars, every year that you've had a character, you get a birthday present, and one of the things in the birthday present is a thing that automatically levels up a character to 80.
Yeah. So
the longer you've been playing the game, the more of these you have, and I'm to the point where I can make new characters for years and just skip to level 80.
Yeah.
I mean, I usually don't. I'll play, because that's the thing about Guild Wars. Guild Wars 2, the first part of the game's great. The middle part fucking sucks.
That's what
the middle part's awful.
That games have problems with is how boring the beginning is.
Yeah.
Because if the beginning of a game is boring, I will not replay it.
I take it back. Now,
I cannot play Fallout New Vegas because I hate the beginning of that game.
That's the thing.
I can't just start over on my same character. I have to start the whole game over because it'll bother me because I'm like, I don't remember exactly what I was just doing.
And Fallout New Vegas, I'll make a new character and I just leave. I just walk away.
I'm not doing this part. Fuck you, Sonny. I'm going this way.
Yeah, I mean, basically, that's exactly what I do. I do it in Skyrim too.
Yeah.
Oh, but the thing, actually, in Guild Wars 2, it's free to play now.
Yeah.
And I don't play the beginning anymore because they've really scaled stuff back because it's free to play. So you're halfway to max level before you get all your full skill bar back now. I'm like,
really?
Yeah, I can't stand it. Because it used to be you get your first 2 skills, you kill 10 things, you get your second skill, kill 20 more things, you get your third, kill 40. So you could work up pretty quick, and now it's just like, oh my god, I should be a god by this point. I haven't even unlocked my elite skill yet, and so I know I just skip. Don't do that with classes you haven't played before. I have a level 80 necromancer.
That you don't know how to play?
Oh boy, do I not know how to use that necromancer. Necromancers are hard. Necromancers are real hard. But anyways, we'll wrap this up.
Yeah. This has been the Jacob and Brad podcast.
I really thought about the 20-minute mark. We were about done talking, and now we're an hour in.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I mean, that's how this goes. You come to us to figure out what we're going to talk about because we have a topic, and then it turns into something else. And you're just lucky we didn't get on Crystal Chronicles because that's coming out this year, and I thought it was going to be somewhere around April.
I'm putting away money right now for a Switch.
Are you?
Yeah.
Good.
Because I gotta have a Switch. Because that's the thing. Alicia's like, I want to play the new Pokemon game, but I don't want to buy a Switch. She's like, no, we're getting a Switch. Like, if only for me.
Yeah. Well, but honestly, wait. Keep putting away the money.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because they're releasing a new one.
Yeah.
There's going to be 2 new models. One of which is going to be more handheld focused with like built-in. It's not going to have the Joy-Cons. It's just going to be basically what the Switch looks like with the Joy-Cons in it. It's going to be. It's just going to be for handheld.
I wonder if I can.
And it'll probably be cheaper.
Yeah, but if it still needs to have an HDMI port so I can screen cap it.
I mean, I'm sure it'll still. Sure it'll still fit in the dock. It's just going to be mainly. It's going to be sturdier and more focused on.
I wonder if you can.
With better battery life.
I wonder if you can still.
I hope they make a cheaper version.
Oh yeah, you have to. Never mind. I was like, I hope you can still like connect different Joy-Cons to it. And I was like, oh no, you have to.
I mean, it's Bluetooth anyway. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's some games you could only play. I mean, okay, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. We don't know what those are going to look like yet, but there might be. If you save up money for a Switch nowadays, you might. Yeah, you might end up having enough money to buy 2 of the new cheaper version of the Switch.
It's like the difference between the 3DS and the new 3DS.
Yeah.
3DS was already like an amazing, like the 3D aside, which wasn't great, was already an amazing thing. And then the new 3DS. Have you ever used the 3D on the new 3DS?
No. I still have the OG 3DS.
The new 3DS.
My 3DS is like 9 years old.
Mine too. The new 3DS.
So you have the purple one.
Yeah, the new 3DS has eye tracking. And so I can actually use the 3D. It's fantastic. It's crazy because like I'll have the 3D and I'll move it around and it actually changes. That it's
dying. It's gone.
Yeah,
I have a feeling they'll still support it.
They probably will. Well, I mean that's what the new Switch is going to be. And who's saying that they might not still? If they
should just release a Switch that has the little DS slot on the side so you can play DS games in it.
They might. They'll probably eventually.
Because they put so much fucking. They put so much into the 3DS.
They need a virtual console. They're like, we're not going to do a virtual console for the Switch. It's like now is the time you need it more than ever. The Wii U didn't need it. That's the only reason people bought the Wii U. Like man, if I'd already
and the Wii U still had a paltry selection of games compared to the Wii.
Yeah,
you could get anything on the Wii.
It's just weird to me.
And now they I think it's more the Wii U did so bad they just gave up and they're just porting all the Wii U exclusive games onto the
think part
Switch.
Of the thing is they just don't have time to focus on that. I think they will eventually. I'm assuming the Switch is like gonna be. They're probably gonna be on the Switch forever.
I hope so because like the Switch feels so much different.
I mean,
because you've always
the Switch
from
is
the
just
beginning of time. I mean. Once you got to like the Super Nintendo,
yeah.
I guess, but like you've always had the Nintendo home console and the Nintendo handheld. You had the NES, and then you had the Game Boy, then you had the Super Nintendo, then you had the Game Boy Advance, and you had the GameCube and the Game Boy Advance SP, and then the DS came out, and you got the Wii, and then there's the Wii U, and then the 3DS, and then like you've always had the things, and then they're just like, okay, combined Switch. Now we have.
Yeah, handheld. That's the thing. And they might even end up calling it something else. But, like, the difference between, like, do you say, like, the Game Boy to the 3DS? 3DS still was just a Game Boy that was better.
Yeah.
And that's what I think. I think they've more or less hit peak. Yeah. And now they just need to add features to it. I mean, I'm sure eventually they can make better stuff, put better graphics in it, better battery life. But
this is definitely my
this podcast is never going to end.
This is definitely my. I know. I'm sorry. This is definitely my console peasantness. Not my PC master race talking.
Well,
but like
each has his own.
I'm so tired of the main focus of gaming consoles being how powerful they are.
Yeah.
Like, Nintendo is always... I mean, and it's not a piece of crap. Nintendo has always been so weak. And I'm gesturing over here because my Switch is over here.
I was wondering. There it is. Yeah, right there.
Like, Nintendo has always had the inferior console. Massive quotes. And I don't care. Breath of the Wild is beautiful.
Yeah.
Graphics do not make the game. Art styles make the game.
Yeah.
Borderlands 1, even before they remastered it, like 3 days ago...
Yeah.
Still held up. It still looked great because of the art style.
If they made that cross-platform, I'd be on that in an instant.
Oh, no. Because I started playing it. It feels great. It's funny how great even that, 11-year-old game feels.
I might even play a different character.
You're not going to play Lilith? I'm actually going to play Lilith when we start live streaming. We're going to live stream this game. You can find us on... I have no idea where I'm going to be streaming it at, so I can't tell you. I'm going to be streaming it on Mixer. Because that's easy.
But anyways, I'm going to wrap this up now.
That's it. Like, I'm sorry. I'm going to keep going. We got more podcast material. But...
Yeah, he might live stream. He might live stream. When he does, we'll let you know. But, that being said...
I'm trying to take over the Instagram. So if you want to follow... What is the Instagram?
Yeah, we're going to try to do this without Lori. Okay, so, yes, I just changed the Instagram, actually.
Is it actually NK Arcade Mode?
It is NK Arcade Mode.
That would be... Cause I just posted a sweet meme on there. Not really.
No, not really.
It was
good enough.
It was something I hastily put together from a game capture off my Xbox that I downloaded onto my phone, and then literally used a meme editor because that's the only fucking editors I could find on.
I know that, dude.
Because I was just at work and I'm like, I got to do this.
All of my photo editing, I use in a meme editor because it's just the most powerful photo editor I have.
That's the only one. You cannot find something that will let you put text on a video unless it is a meme editor.
It's so generic. It's called Meme Generator Pro.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Yeah. I love it.
It works.
Like some of the stuff.
But I'm gonna try to shitpost some of my crappy game captures that I can easily just pop a 30-second game capture off Xbox anytime something cool happens. I'm gonna try to start posting that. So if you want to follow us at NK Arcade Mode on Instagram.
Yep. I don't know if we have a Twitter. Maybe we do. I think we
know.
do somewhere.
Ignore Arcade Mode Twitter. Just go to Nerdly Kingdom.
Eventually it'll get sorted out. Ignore the Facebook page for now. Eventually I'll get that sorted out. It's on my to-do list. But he's doing that. When he starts streaming, I'll let you know. I'm streaming every Friday and some other times on Arcade Mode Games on Twitch.
Arcade Mode Games?
No, I lied. That's not what we're
No, I'm sorry. No, Nerdly Kingdom.
Nerdly Kingdom on Twitch.
We're trying to stay on brand here.
We're working together.
Nerdly Kingdom.
We're at Nerdly Kingdom on Twitch. We're streaming. It's me and my brother. We're still working on whether or not we're going to use screen names while we're streaming because it's. I mean, I don't know. Like
you got to protect the little one's identity.
No, it's not even. It's not even that. It's just 20 now. It's just kind of what you do. Like we know what PewDiePie's real name is. We know what Markiplier's real name is.
It's fair, but he still goes.
But at the same time, group things like Achievement Hunter or Funhouse, they use their real names because there's multiple ones of that. But Dakota's friends play too, so for now we're just using screen names. It doesn't matter. I
don't want to use screen names because I don't want people to know who I am. Because then they can use my screen name.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, okay. That didn't make sense that you added that. But it's
because then I can't be the same thing on every game.
We played Barony, we played Raft. I played Wolfenstein 3D. That was fun.
I watched some of that at work.
It gets better towards the end. You should really watch the end because I'll ruin the ending. I died in level. I only made it to level 2. I died in level 2.
Those old games are so fucking hard.
Well, I was playing on the second hardest difficulty.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, well, that makes sense.
I don't know if I kept that in on the YouTube one. The second to last level, I died. And when you die, you lose all your guns, except for the first one. So I tried to go through the level just stabbing people because I was pissed off. I was like, motherfucker, I'll stab you. I got pretty far, actually, just stabbing people because it's an insta-stun.
Oh, yeah, because they just...
And so, anyways, there's that. We played golf with friends. That was fun. That was actually a lot of fun. But yeah, do that. YouTube channel, Nerdly Kingdom. All of our podcasts are up on there. So if you have like YouTube Premium, YouTube Red, it's not YouTube Red anymore, YouTube Premium. Yeah, if you listen to podcasts on YouTube, they are there. If you listen to the podcast on Spotify, they are there. I mean, you're obviously listening to this one, so however you're listening to this one is probably however you're going to listen to them. But the options are there. And we also have YouTube video arcade mode. I think it's just called arcade mode, where I've posted random videos of us playing games. I'm trying to get more on there. I'm editing everything myself. It's taking a while. I over edit, so it's really taking a while. But they're fun. I think they're good.
I enjoy them. I'm our biggest fan. I'm the biggest fan of the Nerdly Kingdom podcast. I listen to everyone, and I get excited when they release another one. It's so weird.
If you want us to talk about anything specific, or want us to play a certain game on a Twitch or YouTube, we don't do all of them streaming. Just email us at nerdlykingdom@gmail.com. Just put arcade modes in the subject, or arcade mode podcast, either one.
Or just mention a video game. We'll probably figure out, they probably don't want us to just watch this video game and talk about it on the Nerdly
but it helps me sort.
Yeah, it helps for sorting. He can search.
But we'll do that. Anyways, we're going to wrap up this podcast now because it's going on for an hour and 10 minutes. So, bye!
Bye!
Wait, where's my mouse? How do I turn this off? Wait, there it is.